Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about something special. It's going to be being able to use any single type of form connected with Zapier, so that way you guys are able to send out calls whenever somebody submits a simple form of your choosing. So it's going to be a very simple process, going to be a very quick video showing you guys the step-by-step on how to be able to do this and how you can make Zapier workflows work in conjunction with Synthflow to be able to send over calls to whoever needs to be called. All right, so it's going to be very simple. Let's get straight into it and not waste any time. Let's do this. Okay guys, so as you see here in front of me, I have an outbound agent that I've created just for this video. It's going to be very simple. We're not really going to be going into the nitty-gritty details of the actual agent itself. However, what I want to show you guys is what you need from the assistant to be able to make this all work. So first things first, you're going to need this model ID, which you guys are able to copy. And then of course, you're going to need to add any info extractors that you need from the assistant itself, whether you're collecting information from the call, whether you're wanting to do a specific action like booking an appointment. You're going to have to collect it using info extractors that is going to be in this page right here. Now, once you guys have your info extractors and everything is set and ready, you guys are now going to be able to create a Google form. Now, do keep in mind, this is just an example. You guys could either have a Facebook ad currently running that whenever somebody fills in a form, you want to, receive that form and then of course send it over to the Synthflow assistant, so that way the Synthflow assistant can call them. So there's many different ways. Me just using a Google form is just an example, so that way you guys are able to see other things that are possible as well. So you could pretend that this is either a Facebook form, a normal Google form, or a survey as an example. So in this case, we're doing a solar form, right? So it's going to be for the solar companies. Now, all I added onto this form is the first name, the phone number, email, and then a simple question, right? You guys are going to be able to change up your questions however you'd like. However, whenever somebody submits this form, they are essentially going to be having the first point of contact with Zapier here. Now, within this Zapier form, as you can see, this is just a simple workflow that I've created, and I'm going to explain to you guys step by step on what you need to do in here. So first things first, in this new form response, what you're going to want to do, I can edit the draft here so you guys can see everything. All I did was I connected my account and then I configured the form. So I selected what form we're currently choosing, and then I got the response from the form itself, which means you need to submit the form in order to be able to map out the the mapping within the workflow itself. So next thing you're going to want to do is go over and create a call with Synthflow. So as I mentioned earlier, the first thing that you're going to want to copy from the assistant was the model ID. So you're going to want to paste that model ID in here. You're going to want to use the phone number. So here's where you can delete this, and then in this case you could just go over to the form itself and then just click on the phone number right there, so you are able to use that as the phone number that you're calling every single time. Okay, now you're just going to also add the variable of the name of the user, which you're going to be able to do by just going over here and selecting full name. And then after that, you're going to add any custom variables that you want the outbound assistant to be able to use throughout the call. Now, to give you guys an example, if you go over to the prompt here and you add a variable that is called lead_name, which is just going to be the user's name, right? It's going to pop out at here, as you can see. So you can copy this and then go back to your Zapier, and you want to use this JSON format to be able to use custom variables that are sent out from the assistant, from Zapier to the assistant. So simply put, if the lead name is the thing that you want to use within the outbound call, then you're going to use this format, but then you're just going to change the name here to the full name, right? So now whenever let's say you greet somebody, you could say, instead of hey there, hey lead name, right? So it'll say hey Kevin, for example, right? So we could save that there and then go back. So that is what is going to initiate this call. Now for the next step, right, that is going to be a little more intricate, but then again, it's still going to be very simple. The next step is going to be collecting the information from the call itself. So as you guys know, we sent out the call in this workflow. So it made the call to the user that submitted the form, and then once it made the call, we want to gather the data from that call itself. So how do we do that? We do that by going into this right here. We're going to use a catch webhook, right? And then you're going to copy this URL that you see here. Once you copy the URL, then you're going to go over to deployment. You're going to paste the URL right here. So in this case, right, I can remove that URL, and then once the URL is removed, that is when we're going to paste a new one and then click on initialize. In doing this, this is then going to send a request over to Zapier here for you to be able to map it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit this existing draft. You're gonna go here, you're gonna find new records. As you can see, this this is the one that I just sent out right now, so you guys can continue with selected record and then have it very simply done. Now after this, we're going to be checking for a couple things, right? Maybe you're doing outbound calls to book appointments, maybe you're doing to collect information, but whatever it is, what I did is I made a path. So there's two paths that the assistant can take. One can be if they booked an appointment, and the other one is if they didn't book the appointment. And I make sure that I gather this information by using the info extractors. Okay, so I can go here, right? And by using the info extractors, as you can see, it's connected to one right now. All I need to do is search up the info extractor of that I created. For example, if I made one over here in the actions tab, and the info extractor said appointment booked, which is, I'll just show you guys as an example. Let's just say it's booking confirmed. You add that action. Let's just say it's this, right? Did the user confirm the booking time, or did the user book an appointment in general, right? That's what you're going to be searching in here. And then if you do the yes or no on the info extractors, which is just true or false, then here you're just going to be checking if the info extractor contains true or false. If it's true, they booked an appointment. If it's false, they didn't book an appointment. Now here, it's completely up to you, but in this guide, what we're doing is we're sending an email out to confirm the user's time of the appointment, which is the first thing that we're doing. As you can see, this is the body right here, which you guys are going to be able to copy. Then after sending that email, we are then doing a solar guide. So we're just basically sending them a simple solar guide that goes over all of the benefits, for example, of going solar, right? This is just an additional add-on that you guys can use, for example, but it makes it very easier by using Zapier. After this is very important. Here, we're going to look up the spreadsheet row. Okay. So in this spreadsheet row, we're basically gathering the information that we're getting from each call. Now below, you guys are going to be able to see this sheet that I will have for you. And in this sheet, this is how you're going to be gathering all the information from the call itself. Now, it depends on how you want to gather it and what information you want to gather from each call. However, this is just a simple template that you guys are going to be having available for you. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to look up the phone number of the user in this sheet right here. Okay. And in order to be able to do that, you're going to want to connect the lead phone number in the lookup value. And then in the lookup column, you want to make sure that it's phone. All right. Now, once that's done, you can continue. And in here, we're finding out if the user was found or if the user wasn't found in the list and we need to create a new user. Now, you're just going to want to make sure that you have this only continue if value here, which should be the same exact thing. You could do it by clicking on this and searching it up in step number 6, which is right here. And then you can write true or false. As I mentioned before, the only responses are going to be true or false when it comes to these type of things. All right. So in this case, it's going to be true if we did find a user, and it's going to be false if we didn't find a user. Now, if we didn't find a user, obviously we want to make sure that we create that user within that sheet, which is where we're going to be using a create spreadsheet row in Google Sheet column. As you can see, this is the action event. And what we're going to be doing is just filling out the values like that. And then that would create the new contact using the information from the call in here. Okay. Now, if we did find the user, then essentially we are going to just update their row by using the update spreadsheet row action event. And then from here, you're going to be able to put in all the information that you need from the actual call itself. Now, the call counter is very important because, of course, you want to count how many times they've been called. You could either add a math equation to this, however you want to do it. Just make sure that you're actually counting each of the calls that you're making. Okay. Now, going back to the no booked appointment section, this is essentially going to be the same exact thing that you guys saw right here, just without the email or the solar guides, right? So we look up the spreadsheet row, we find the user, or we don't find the user. If we don't find the user, we create the spreadsheet row. If we do find the user, we update the spreadsheet row. So now that you guys understand how to be able to utilize any type of form using Zapier and then matching it up with Synthflow, you guys are going to be able to use this for Facebook ads, for surveys, for recruiting jobs, for interviews, for anything that you guys may think of. Now, if that's not worth a subscribe, I don't know what else is. However, I will say that I have even more value to give you guys. I have a Skool community that you guys are able to join. It is a very nice community in there. You're going to be able to have free snapshots of GoHighLevel and Synthflow. You're going to have everything that you need. You're going to have free courses and, of course, a community with 500 plus people within there. Not to mention, you have access to me and my team. You can ask me any questions about voice AI. I'm always there to help you. And then with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.